And that brand new CBS News poll just out this morning shows actually 70% of those surveyed see these orders as fulfilling President Trump's campaign promises. But Democrats are expressing outrage and frustration, including Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The governor is here to talk about that and a number of other issues, including the state's ongoing fraud issues. Governor, thank you so much for coming in.
Good to be with you, Esme.
I know that you are concerned about what is going on at the federal level, and Elon Musk, specifically the Attorney General, is suing to protect Minnesotans' private data that is stored in Treasury and other places in the federal government. Your thoughts on that and what is going on with Mr. Musk?
Yeah, first of all, look, I'm not opposed to just because ideologically they see things differently. I'm opposed because they're stomping on the Constitution. Article 1, for example, as a member of Congress, as I was, they're the appropriators. They put up, they give you, as the executive, the orders, and your job is to carry these things out. That's not what they're doing. And on the an individual citizen, I just ask your viewers to just imagine if maybe you agree with this side. Imagine if the shoe's on the other foot and we just went in and took your data, had someone come in who was an unelected official, someone who does not care how that data gets out there. That is simply not the way things are done. If you want to change the laws, if you want to cut funding to these organizations,
he's
then he should
doing
change
it,
the laws.
but the courts are intervening, but he's doing it.
He's doing it.
No one's stopping him.
Yeah, well, the courts will go in. Our system is still of checks and balances. Look, it's very clear that the executive branch at the federal level does not care what the executive branch are the appropriators. They put it out, and the Republicans aren't saying anything about it in Congress, so the courts step in and put temporary restraining order on it. The question is, will they follow the court's orders? And what happens if they don't? Sending in 620-somethings to have access to the Social Security system by the richest man in the world who is not elected by anyone, that should be deeply concerning. Whether you agree with his politics or not, it sets a precedence that we've never seen.
All right, I want to ask you about the immigration policy. We actually have a poll that shows, this is from the CBS News poll, 59% of those surveyed approve of the president's rigorous deportation policies. Your thoughts about that, and are you going to order the State Patrol and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to adhere to ICE orders if it comes to that? Well,
first of all, we have no responsibility and we have no authority over immigration policies. Those are federal. There's a separation of powers. We simply adhere to the things that are lawful. Look, what I would say about this is, I've argued this forever, we need to modernize our immigration system. We had a bipartisan bill to do so, and nothing in these orders, if you're going to go to schools or you're going to round people up, does nothing to stop the flow of what's causing this and create a legal path for folks to come into this country. What it does is it creates great chaos. We'll see the numbers on the number of people. No one says that people should be here without proper documentation, but the idea of going to a school where a child is or separating them from their parents, and that's what they're saying, it shouldn't matter. I don't think Minnesotans, and I don't think most Americans, I think when you ask a question like that, people want our system to work, and deportation is one piece of that, but there's a whole lot of other things that they could be doing that they're not to make sure that that system is more secure.
We were talking before the show, and you said that the Minnesota National Guard does have transgender members. What happens to them in this particular order of the president's banning transgender people from serving in the U.S. military?
Yeah, look, the Attorney General, and we will look at it through the military and what they're able to do, so the Uniform Code of Military Justice, what they're able to do. But I would just say on this, these are Americans who volunteered, who did their time, many of them highly decorated. I simply know when I served, I did not care about your gender, and I certainly did not care about your politics if you were doing your job. And so we'll see what the order does. We've not had it analyzed and looked on this, but I would just remind folks, in an all-volunteer force, and the Minnesota National Guard being an example of this, we are highly professional. They deliver every time on their mission that they're supposed to. And I just don't understand the demonization of a very small slice of the public. And I would go back to that survey you showed of keeping campaign promises. What does that have to do with reducing the cost of eggs? What does that have to do with reducing the cost of gasoline? What does that have to do with improving educational scores? What it does is it is a social issue to try and draw fire amongst folks. I don't think it makes us any safer. I'm incredibly proud of the troops who serve in the National Guard, all of them.
Are you going to fight that in court? It sounds like that's an
We'll see what
option.
it says on this. Yeah, I think the American public, the purpose of this is simply to demonize. And look, we have a Secretary of Defense now who says women shouldn't be involved in this. In an all-volunteer
walk
force
that
and the
back.
professionalism. Yeah, everybody does when they need to be confirmed.
All right, and just quickly, do you know how many transgender troops?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
All right.
And what I would say about this is, it's really none of my business. If they are able to pass the standards to be able to do what's necessary in their jobs, they pass the PT standards, they pass the mental standards, they pass everything necessary to be in the Guard, and then they do their job and get promoted. I'm still at a loss for this of what difference does it make on this.
Okay.
Same argument that we'd make about women in the military.
Okay, since we're talking about approval ratings, we want to talk about your approval ratings right now. There have been 2 polls out recently, including one from KSTP out just this week. This one came out last month, that show you with approval ratings that are really relatively very high, 55% in this one to 41% disapprove. Actually, that's very good. What are you going to run for a 3rd term? You're sitting on $1 million in your campaign treasury.
Well, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to Minnesotans that I think the way of governing here, that we continue to try and make life better for folks. We're willing, if we get it wrong, to come back and try and fix it. I've talked to folks about that. We've been through a lot together, COVID, social unrest.
Kind of sounds like a yes.
And I think right now we'll get through this legislative session, and I think if you see numbers like this and you see the public being there, and I feel like I'm able to do the job, I think I would look at it. And I continue to tell people I will do, if the people of Minnesota think it's the best for them, I'd be honored to continue to serve, I think.
All right, that sounds like kind of a yes.
Well, we'll see at the time and cross that bridge.
All right, will you run with Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who progressives will say gave you a great deal of progressive credibility when you picked her to be your running mate?
Yeah, I think we've made a good team. Look, those decisions are made in each run that you make. I know now, and I have the experience of being on a ticket as the undercard, if you will, and the challenges that go with that. Lieutenant Governor Flanagan has been a voice for children. She has been a voice to make sure our communities are represented. She's been a voice on looking to make sure our tribal communities are listened to. And I think she and I together have been highly successful. And when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
All right. Want to ask you about the legislature. You have to get a budget out of this legislature, and you want a bonding bill. You were down at the Rapidan Dam,
That's right.
and just obviously desperate needs there. Desperate needs really all across the state. This is a bipartisan issue. Is anything going to get done out of this legislature?
Yeah, it will. Look, we knew this was going to come to it. We had the 50-50 split, and that's where we ended up. And I think we have 4 very capable leaders at the 4 corners, if you will, in Speaker Demuth, in Speaker Emeritus Hortman. You've got Senator Johnson and Murphy. These are experienced legislators. These are folks that know that we're going to have to compromise to get things done. I've put out, which I think has been talked about as being a very conservative budget, but I think it's one that keeps Minnesota in the strong position it's in. Not a lot of new things, not a lot of changes. It does make us make some hard decisions down the road, but that's what we were elected to do. So I feel very confident. As far as bonding, things like the Rapidan Dam, roads, bridges, water treatment plant, keeping up the University of Minnesota, those things are really popular amongst the public. So I do think we get it done. And we're in a solid financial position to do
On
it.
time? There's no special session?
Yeah, I never special sessions. And I again, when people said, well, do they have enough time to get it? Yes, there's enough time to get this done. There's plenty of time. And I think we will. I think those 4 leaders, as I would say again, look, ideologically, we very much differ, but I've watched them operate. They're good. They can get it done.
Well, Governor, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you to your staff for coming by, too. We appreciate getting them out of bed on a Sunday morning when a lot of people are going to be watching the Super Bowl. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good to see you. Drive
Good to
safely.
see you. Yes.